What's up? For those who don't know, today NickMercs posted a video on YouTube about his MP4 build and one slight change he did that he claims makes it a destroyer at range. He claims that his change to an M16 stock increased his ability to keep his gun on target at range. So I want to do a little review on that. So we're gonna break down his build, we'll break down my build, and then we're gonna take it down into a multiplayer map, and we're just going to do some comparisons on the spot and we'll see who has the better build. He's rocking a monolithic suppressor, which I agree with. He has 60 round mags, which I am not a big fan of. So the need of 60 round mags is rather, you're playing hyper aggressive, you're playing up close, and you need to take down two people at once without reloading, or if you just have bad shots. And then he has a grenadier barrel, which is nice. Yeah, okay, see he gets his range there, but he's losing his ADS speed and his movement speed. Okay, so then he has his M16 stock, which he likes, which decreases his movement speed, but he wants his stability. His build is focused on range, so that makes sense. So he has the Ranger foregrip, which control and stability. Okay, that's what he's focused on, but once again, we're losing ADS speed. His 60 round mag is causing him to lose ADS speed and movement speed. A lot of his things are reducing his mobility and his ADS speed. But he's using it for range, and he's using it for those distance engagements where he doesn't want his cursor to move. He wants to shoot, he wants to hit exactly where he's aiming. So that makes sense why he went with the build he did. But let's break down my build. I took the same things into account when I was trying to create this build. Monolithic suppressor, that's the same. For the barrel, I went with a custom marksman. So where he went with the grenadier, if you look at the stats here, they're the same. The pros and the cons are exactly the same. But if you look at the bars at the bottom, you can see there's some changes there, right? So with the grenadier, you get a little bit of more accuracy and control, and that's what he's going for. But you're getting it at the cost of that mobility. That mobility bar moves pretty significantly. So I wanted to keep that. For the stock, he went with the M16 stock. I wanted to go with this forged tack. So looking at the two, I get my ADS speed at the loss of some accuracy and some control. So I don't have an extended mag, I get to put a rear grip on mine, and with the rear grip, I decided the granulated grip, so I get my aiming stability and aim walking steadiness. I almost went with the stippled grip take, but I decided not to since the granulated gave me that accuracy and control that I've been losing in other areas. And then for the underbarrel, I went with the Commander foregrip, and mainly was because the Ranger foregrip, you're losing your ADS speed and your movement. And if you know this channel at all, you know I like having those things. But let's go ahead and go into a review. Alright, to start off the test, I'm going to start off with Nick's build. So his build, as I've said before, is for range, right? So I could sit at one side of this map and aim all the way across and do these tests, but it's harder to see. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do the test up close. Just keep in mind that any flaws that or imperfections you see up close at range are going to be amplified by like 3 to 4 times, because an error will get bigger over range. So I'm going to start up close, and first I'm just going to do hip fire. But I need to go ahead and make sure I only have 30 rounds, because to make it fair, we're both shooting with 30. So I'm going to go ahead and do a hip fire right here. And I'm not aiming, I'm not pulling down or anything like that. So now I'm going to get back to 30. I'm going to do just a shoot, and I'm just going to let the gun take it where it takes it. And like he said it doesn't move. Right? So I'm just going to shoot, and let's let it walk. Alright. That's pretty good. And then for the last one, I'm just going to go ahead, and I'm going to try to pull it down and keep it tight. Right here. Not bad. Alright, so let's do the same thing on this piece of plywood with my build. Right here, I'm going to do my hip fire. Let it walk. And lastly, I'm going to do my pull down. Keep it tight. Alright, so hip fire, whew, he wins that one all day. For letting it walk, so they're both starting on the bolt holes, In the top, if I'm aiming right at his and I walk over, mine's about a full bullet higher than his. So, okay. And then we'll look at the tight spreads. His spread's tight, my spread's tight. But I guess the big point I wanted to make through this explanation was that he claims that it didn't move. It moves. It definitely moves. Both one move. So the fact of making it so it doesn't move is all based on you, right? It's based on how well you can control that accuracy by pulling down your weapon to compensate for the kick. But his build lost a lot of ADS speed and a lot of movement speed. So let's go ahead and capture those two. But we're going to go ahead and capture that here with a little test I came up with. So for aiming down sight speed, you can see how slow this is. It's pretty bad. And what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to get in line with this wall right here. And I'm going to start shooting and I'm going to move right at the same time and see where the bullet ends. And then I'm going to do that same comparison with my build. Alright, so 3, 2, 1. Alright, so now we're going to switch over to mine and do the same thing. Alright, so I got my build out. We're going to do the same thing. So ADS speed, well, in comparison to his build, this is actually way faster. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get in line with this wall. I'm going to move to the right at the same time I start shooting. I'm going to try to aim a little lower. 3, 2, 1. And you can see that mine made it farther. So if I made it here, and his stopped right about here. So looking at the overall results, I would say mine is about a 30% greater movement speed. At really far range, though that doesn't look like it's going to be that much, he's not going to be moving as much. So he's going to be a lot easier to hit versus someone who's moving a little faster that the other person's going to actually have to follow. So there's a greater chance for them to miss. So final results. For him to beat the hipfire and for him to slightly decrease the walk, he had to significantly reduce his ADS speed and he had to reduce his movement speed, which doesn't seem like a lot, but just remember at range that little distance is going to be amplified, which allows for more opportunities for the other guy to miss because he's going to have to do that tracking. And then if you see someone at range, that ADS is really going to help you get onto them a lot quicker. And when you're saying it doesn't move, it's just not true. That's just completely based on how well you can pull it down. And maybe that's different on the console. I'm not sure. I'm playing on PC. But if you like the video, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next loadout review. Peace.